like, if we get together now, we can as well say, oh, we haven't actually started right. Let's go back and say, one of the basic things we should also be talking about is amendment of our constitution.
Good. So if somebody is telling you about amendment,
but it is from the dialogue, the national dialogue, that people can bring that to the fore, isn't it?
Thank you, Sulaiman. You see, it's we should not allow any obfuscation. We should not give in to subterfuge. We should not subject our lives to whims and caprice of any Nigerian leader. Obasanjo did it the last time. He wanted to give himself more life with third term. So he also wanted to use national conference to hoodwink us. For how long shall we, as citizens of this nation, continue to allow ourselves to be hoodwinked, by the whims and caprice of any Nigerian leader? Just say, okay, let me distract them a little. Let me just mesmerize them. Let me get into some things.
I'm sure you must have heard how tired Nigerians are, and they saying, well, we have seen a whole lot of committees, people bringing up reports from various, pockets of talks here and there without it being implemented, and the government surely knows that it will be dangerous for it not to listen to any outcome of this particular national dialogue. That is why it is important that every segment of our national life should really key into all of this and talk about some of these issues you just highlighted.
Somebody reading, watching me now will say, hey, there they come again. Like the lady you brought in, was it you last week, BRICS, from Niger Delta, saying when people give American example, that they don't know that Nigeria and America are not the same thing. Look, Nigeria and America share some similarities. We both went through civil war.
Mr. Fashakin, a host of people will say that we've not even had that conversation. That conversation that brought about the 17, the constitution that the American people have.
Yes.
We've not even had that conversation. That our constitution is not a people's constitution. That the very first lines of our own constitution is a lie. That we did not give ourselves that constitution. That when were they consulted, or was anyone consulted, when the 1999 constitution was finally written? We didn't even subject it to a referendum. I'm a little at a loss as to where exactly you stand on this particular issue. On one hand, you say the need for a national conference, but on the other hand, you say, no, not through this particular means, or this is an attempt of the government to hoodwink us. Is that where you stand?
Let me disambiguate this thing. Let me remove whatever ambiguities that are not clear in your mind. The issue of national conference. Somebody, you started that, they said, we the people. If you look at 1999 Constitution, had a lot of, just a few points here and there, but took the route from 1979 Constitution, basically. How was 1979 Constitution enacted? Through the people. It went through the Constituent Assembly. You see, for me, I'm a project manager, professional project manager. I don't want, when you say you have a project, my view is, what is the end? What is the denouement? The end of this project. What do you want at the end of this project? You see, that is the point that I want to warn Nigerians about. That we are not just going to get onto another circus show, another talk shop, if we have a national conference that we say we want to do amendments, let the purpose be clear ab in issue.
Are we not preempting? Are we not then preempting the advisory committee? Because it's not like as if the modality for doing this national conference has been set out already. Right now what we have is a committee to advise the president or advise the government on how to go about such a venture, if that's what they decide to do eventually. it's very possible that the conference committee might come out and say that it's not even feasible. You don't see that possibility happening, or you don't have confidence in the members of the committee?
Well, I like your perspective. You are trying to be very objective. We know objectivity in this climb is not really the kind of the thing that the government is. I mean, they already have a set mind. This work of the committee already has a decided outcome. Let's not move away.
What is the decided outcome?
How did you know this decided outcome?
Thank you. You see, a lot of us have looked at, like I've asked you, that a president that kept mute when somebody from his region was, threatening everybody, that should he not be re-elected, that the whole nation will go into huge conflagration, and kept mute at that, and now 6 weeks later was not talking about a national conference or something like that. Did not say anything at that time.
Mr. Fashakin, if I may come in here,
yes.
That person you're talking about has spoken from two sides of the mouth about the same issue. One time he says he doesn't need to return. The next time he says if he's not, he'll be elected. So are you basing your argument? Are you basing your argument on someone who has been accused of speaking from the two sides of his mouth?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about Asari Dokubo. What he said about 6, 7, and which was widely reported.
But is that where you're basing your argument on? Is that what should decide whether there's a national dialogue or not?
No, it's not what. You see, the motive is what we are looking at now. We want to. These are about our president. This is our leader, the Nigerian leader. We are citizens of this nation. And we have to be clear in our minds that what our president, the direction is taking us to, is not based on a decided outcome. It's not based on, the same thing. Look, the same leader, this committee, is it going to present a technical report?
The committee is an advisory committee.
Thank you. 70 reports are already sitting with the president that he has done nothing about.
Yes. It is an advisory body.
Yes.
So it hasn't started. So they'll go around and ultimately come forward before the president to bring their report, leading up to the main discussion that we've been talking about. So we're saying that if you say you never wanted any kind of talk because of the motive or the intention, but we're asking, can't you actually redirect it? As they say, steal the moment and make the best of it.
Redirect it, make the best of it. These are things that are neither here nor there.
How?
You see, ask yourself about the timetable for this. By 2014, the election fever will be there. This is a high-stake election that we are going into in 2015. The president had some hiccups, in his election, re-election bid, even from his own party. I'm not even talking about from Nigeria. So there's a wide gamut of issues attached to this that you are now questioning, looking at the motive. If the president wanted a real national, dialogue at that time, he had ample opportunity. Before he was even sworn in 2011, he was talking about.
Who should be more bothered? Who should be more concerned? The political parties or the Nigerian? Because the other time we saw the APC leader, Bola Tinubu, saying he will consult with his party. And
yes.
some Nigerians said, hey, wait a minute, consult with your people, not your party, because it's a people's thing, so that we can have a people's constitution. Shouldn't we be talking about our people, different ethnic nationalities in the country, and say, this is what we want, instead of letting political parties cash in on this?
Now, you see, I listened to this lady, Briggs, said the same thing you are telling me now. You see, we need to understand clearly, political parties, that you can only win election, to govern this nation only through the platform of political parties. That's one. Political parties consist or comprise of the various segments of Nigerian people. We should start a gradual. We know the things that divide us. We know. I mean, I know I'm a Yoruba man, and before then, I'm an Akure man. These are facts of our history. We have chosen to live together, and we should try to play down on these aspects that divide. In a political party are people from various ethnic groups. So, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu saying that he will consult with his party, he's still talking about consulting with the people, with the people that make up the party.